You have found Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. We are locally underwritten by the Bank of Sun Prairie. My name is James Kademan, entrepreneur, author, speaker, and helpful coach to small business owners across the country. And today we are welcoming / preparing to learn from Jeanne Kolker, the owner, founder, super awesome person, I suppose, at Insight Counseling and Wellness. And today we're talking specifically to Jeanne about business as well as all the changes that have happened in her industry over the course of that crazy pandemic. So Jeanne, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing pretty well. Thanks, James. And thanks for having me. It's great to talk about this stuff. Anytime I can have a platform to talk about and to normalize mental health care, I am all over it.
Nice. So let's start Insight Counseling and Wellness.
Sure.
Let's say January 2020, just to give people a foundation. How many therapists did you have?
That's a great question.
Just ballpark.
Yeah. So I would say we were probably in the teens at that point, probably had somewhere in the 12 to 15 range.
Okay.
Yes.
And now today we're talking January 23.
Yes, a lot more. So in the 20s for sure. So our business is kind of unique in the mental health clinic world that we have a couple different kind of parts of our business. We have our mental health therapists. We also have case managers who work for a county program. And then we also have more of a holistic like wellness side with yoga therapists and body-centered folks. So as a whole, Insight has grown from 2020 probably, and I didn't even look this up, but it was probably maxed at 20 people, and now we're double that. So we have doubled in the last couple of years.
Over the course of a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And was that the trajectory that you were on? Let's say 2018 to 2020?
No, I had no idea that this was going to happen.
All right.
I'd started Insight just trying to figure it out, and a couple other therapists that I coaxed along and into and brought them on, because it's a really hard thing to do on your own. To just
I bet
to provide mental health care is a very challenging, fatiguing, high burnout field, and then to try to do it yourself and figure it out just out of my master's program. I needed help, so I had a few people, and there was probably 5 of us, a group of 5 that really started it.
Okay.
And just in one room, just trying to figure it out. And this was in the days when if you were going to do therapy, you had to have a room.
Sure. Yeah. Back in the day.
Yeah. Back in the day, you actually had to have real estate for people. Right. So we were sharing, and then we'd add a room the next year. We'd, expand our lease the next year, that sort of stuff. And when the pandemic hit, we were planning a new building to move into. And at that point, there was only so many people that I could hire that we could have providing services, because we needed to have a room with a door that would close where you could do psychotherapy. And so we had planned this new building that we were working with a landlord and an architect on. And, there was a threshold. We could only have so many people because there's only so many rooms with doors, in a clinic. And then January 2020, February, March, the world changed.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. And so, one of the only bright sides is that there's less need now for all those rooms with doors.
All right.
To do therapy.
Not because the volume of clients is going down, but because telehealth is now a thing.
Yes. Right. So if we get in our time machine and go back to March 2020, I have a lot of emails that I can go back and read and get re-triggered, but it was very uncertain. Telehealth had existed, telemedicine, doctors had been doing this, but it was definitely the exception rather than the rule. And insurance companies were not forthcoming about what they would pay, whether they would pay for it, if they would cover it. And, we're looking, we take Medicaid, we're a DHS certified clinic through the, state government. We get Medicaid money from the federal, the state, the county level. you know how it is
Mm-hmm.
to try to figure out what government's going to do next.
Right.
So it was just like
Even they don't know.
no, they didn't. And it was just a lot of pivoting. Like, can we do this? Obviously our clients come first. So, for those first couple of weeks when I was telling people to stay home, triage, see do you need to call your clients? Do you need to do phone sessions? We might not get paid for them. Who cares? Make sure everybody's okay.
All right.
So
solve the problem.
Yes, exactly. Like, make sure they know we're still here for them. We're going through this too. But it's so interesting, the timing, like the universe was really on our side with this.
All
Because in January of 2020, we finally modernized and moved to electronic health records. Before that, we were just pen and paper. We just had our
January of 2020.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
that was lucky.
It was lucky. And so we moved everybody into electronic health records, did all the training, and my staff was amazing in learning and teaching and how to do that. And we got everybody on board in February. So we're big learning curve. We're just figuring this out. And then all of a sudden we have to learn how to do telehealth too.
Wow.
Not knowing if we're going to get paid, not knowing how to do it. But again, we have to think about what do our clients need.
Mm-hmm.
So we figured it out. It was an interesting transition to go from in-person to telehealth.
Oh, I bet. Just it's interesting. I guess there's a million different facets, right? But there's the technological, what do we use as software or platform for telehealth?
Mm-hmm.
There's also the, hey, I can see you from the neck up now, where before I used to see your whole body language.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the small talk, instead of, hey, how's your day going? It's like, oh, is your mic on? There's a whole,
yeah, right.
like the user, or I guess the client, you have to make sure that they have equipment, laptop, tablet, phone, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine you have to make sure, I don't know if you ever had to deal with black screens instead of just like,
oh,
hey,
absolutely.
on.
Yep.
So there's all that on top of just the challenge of helping people in general.
Yes. And
before that.
Right. And we are, like I said, high burnout field. It's a really challenging work environment when we're in person, but we were going through the fear of the pandemic too.
Yeah.
I mean, we're an anxious bunch. we therapists, we really are, and it was a scary time. So we're trying to manage our own experience while also, because what am I going to say? Oh, it's going to be okay. Well, you never say that, first of all, because you never know if it's going to be okay.
Sure.
Did not feel like it was going to be okay in March 2020.
No, it felt like the world was ending.
Yeah, it did.
Or at least, upending, I guess. So let's start with the technical side, the software platform, whatever. Did you just say, hey, we're jumping on Zoom just like half the world did? Or was there a specific therapist? I don't know if HIPAA got involved or anything like that.
Yes. Well, of course HIPAA has to get involved. I mean, this is So I mean, it's a little bit in the weeds, but I can tell you more about it. So we switched to this electronic health records, which is just a web-based, it's called Simple Practice. It's a lot of therapists use it. It's made for mental health clinics, and it's where we keep all of our records. It's HIPAA compliant, and it has a telehealth feature. We just had to but we
holy lucky.
I know we hadn't activated it because I was like $10 a month. Why would I do that? And then suddenly I'm like, activate. So we had to learn how to do it. But then I also had to get Zoom for a lot of my staff too. Like I said, the case management, they don't use electronic health records because they're not providing psychotherapy, but they had to meet with their clients. They had to do meetings with their clients and providers. So yes, I'm trying to get customer service from Zoom at that point
it didn't exist.
It was a real challenge. Yeah. I remember an email I got back from a customer service rep, and they were like, I'm not sure if you're aware, but we're in the middle of a global pandemic. So wait times are a lot longer. I was like, oh, I'm not
there are months.
Aware. Well, I wasn't aware of that. And it wasn't that I needed the only thing The only thing I needed was the business associate agreement to make sure that it was HIPAA compliant. I just kept hammering that out to make sure I had that, because I was not going to risk our status with Medicaid by using something that was not HIPAA compliant. So had to get all that stuff in place. It's like with owning a business, you have to learn an entirely new thing. I don't know, every few months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Zoom was
So,
interesting that time because I feel like it was just this kind of seat of the pants company with the ping pong tables and whatever junk like that. And all of a sudden they actually
mhm,
had to work and they're just like,
mhm.
whoa,
Whoa, we weren't prepared for
customers?
this.
We didn't expect customers.
Yeah,
Like, no
I
ping pong, get to
know.
work.
Right. And it's, and look at us. We're on Zoom right now. We're still using Zoom.
Yeah, here we are.
I
Love
still
it or
have
hate it.
40 licenses for Zoom,
Yeah.
and on top of, having the electronic health records, telehealth, just because this is how we communicate now. There's
Mhm.
a much bigger movement now to be in person. A lot of people are really craving that.
Oh
So
my
that's been
gosh,
good.
1,000 times over.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But some people got really used to telehealth.
I bet. I imagine there's a convenience to it.
Hmm.
And this is pure speculation. So tell me if I'm totally wrong.
Hmm.
But I would imagine there are some people that feel safer
Hmm.
from a telehealth therapy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like you and I, James, right now, I'm sitting in my house with a cat on my lap.
All
This is
right.
this is very regulating for me.
All right.
If hopefully we don't talk about my trauma today, but if we were digging into some stuff, this would be very regulating for me. I'd feel really safe and protected here.
All right.
And that has been the experience for a lot of people.
All right. It also seems to me like it would numb, maybe numb is the wrong word. It would regulate some of the communication. I think of being at a live concert versus watching a concert on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like watching on TV is kind of cool, kind of,
Mm-hmm.
but being at a concert is way cooler.
Right. And for some people, they need that interpersonal connection.
Mhm.
They need to be in person. I mean, we have a couple therapists at Insight who I'd say 75% of their folks come in person
Oh,
because
well, okay.
they just feel more connected, that there's more of a therapeutic alliance, that they
Mhm.
can be more vulnerable in that space. Because think about what the home life can be. And this was a big challenge at the beginning of the pandemic, because not everybody has a safe place with a sweet cat on their lap.
Sure.
I mean,
All
people
right. So
could
coming to
be,
therapy is an escape almost.
it is, or, maybe it's not safe if there was an environment where there was domestic violence. There
Sure.
could be an inability to talk honestly, to even be in therapy.
Sure. Hey, abusive spouse, settle down. I'm in therapy. Probably doesn't
Exactly.
go so well. All right.
No. And so that was a really scary part of the pandemic. But
Mm-hmm.
also, on the lighter side, everybody was stuck home with their kids. So they'd get interrupted every 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Dogs are barking in the background. Maybe people, I did so many sessions with people in their cars, just sitting in their driveway, trying to get some privacy.
Oh, because that was what they had for a safe place or a
Right.
private,
Yeah.
quiet space.
Yes, obviously they were not driving around, they were parked,
Right.
but
Right.
bundled up in the winter, I've done lots of those sessions because that's where people could get privacy. So there's just so much to consider when you think
Yeah.
about telehealth.
Was there ever a technical challenge with people that just weren't? I
Yep.
mean, I just imagine like my dad, who's a older gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
When we meet was on Zoom with him, that's every time it's an event.
Right.
Every time.
You're on mute.
Just click
Why
the
can't I
link.
hear you? Yeah.
Click the link. It's every time.
Right. Well,
So I can imagine if there's some anxiety because they're going to therapy or whatever, and the one roadblock is whatever technical challenge that they have, whether it's self-inflicted or not.
True. And so there's those more like funny anecdotes around that, but then there's also an issue of access too.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody has a smartphone. Not everybody
Right.
who we treat is able to, download the forms, the consent forms, sign them and send them back because they don't have a laptop. So we had to really work to overcome barriers to access for some of our people.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And was that something like you had to hire someone on, or did you have somebody on your staff that just figured it out, or how did you work that?
Yeah, we're all pretty much in charge of our own caseload. So we would, look at and see, we'd be able to communicate. We have an answering service that can do some calling for us.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of, we email a lot with our clients and just communicate that way and make sure that we're able to meet them where they are. And, sometimes phone sessions were the way that we we reached people. And that was something that Medicaid had to approve. And that was another big, issue is, typically phone sessions were not approved until the pandemic. So there was like a temporary waiver and variance and all sorts of fun stuff that I got to learn about. But it's so in this time since then, I do think access to psychotherapy has definitely improved.
All right. Well, that's good. That's very good. Tell me what the timeline from the time that the government, whichever government, I guess, said, hey, funny story, no more in-person stuff, to the time that Medicaid, as an example, said, hey, this is the way around that. It
was probably 2-3 weeks to a month, where we were, we were like, I was calling all my therapist friends, because networking, you have a lot of people in your network, and we'd share, like, here's an email you can send to the governor, to your alder person, to and so we were really advocating to make sure that telehealth was approved and included. And it did end up that it was kind of that we were able to go back and bill for those sessions where we weren't sure. We didn't know if we would be able to. But there was a few weeks of just real uncertainty there. Like I didn't know if the business was gonna, who knew? We didn't know.
You didn't know.
We didn't know.
I can definitely remember talking to a few of our clients off the ledge. When and in the end, I guess I felt, I don't know. It's interesting because it was very interesting to see how different people reacted very differently to the same information, or just like, hey, this is what's happening. How do you react? Like it's not the facts, it's the reaction to the facts. And how some people are just like, board the doors, and other people are like, ain't no thing. This will be done tomorrow.
Yeah.
And figuring out like just different entrepreneurs, how they were treating their business, how different people treated their employees, good or bad. How I guess talking about leaders and followers, seeing who was doing what they could to take charge of their little part of the world and lead their crew, and others are just what I would consider cowering in fear, I guess. Or maybe it wasn't even fear, cowering in uncertainty.
Sure.
I think where they're just like, I'm just gonna be in the fetal position in the corner and wait till somebody tells me it's safe to come out.
Right. I mean, I can understand that reaction totally. And it is, it's a life threat, first of all. And then it's your livelihood, so it can just kind of get you in that frozen state of, okay, now I guess it's all over. Maybe it's all over, Well, and you've had me on before, and I talked about how our offices caught fire in 2018.
Yeah.
So we had this big like fire event when telehealth didn't exist. And I thought, well, this is it. I don't know how we're going to do, all right, well, we had a good run. A couple of years, right? And then we just like got back, kind of got our groove back, in 2019. I was feeling so good. And then the pandemic hit, and I was like, are you kidding me? This is, you really have to believe in the mission. And I'd love to say, well, just, trust the universe. No, you had to really, really make some quick decisions and be really thoughtful and try. I didn't have a crystal ball, but I had to kind of pretend that I did.
Fortune favors the bold, right?
Yes, exactly.
Favor the cowards, right?
No. And that's one of the things that we ended up hiring a lot of people because I no longer needed to buy them an office chair, like in a couch and all that stuff.
So the financial investment of a I want to say tech of a therapist.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's my old world.
Sure.
A therapist wasn't as extreme as it was when they're remote.
Well, I wasn't as worried about finding a place for them. I mean, of course, I'm still paying rent on all my offices throughout this whole thing, and none of our expenses. The only thing is I didn't buy as much toilet paper or snacks and water for people, right? So there's a few good things, but I made sure people had the technology they needed, who needs AirPods, who needs a webcam, we took care of all that stuff. But really, people could stay home and see clients. And
I remember the webcam shortage. I just remembered that when I was having to send webcams to agents, and I was like, $80 for a webcam? There was 20 a month ago.
I know. And do you remember like how how much it costs to just buy like wipes, like
Yeah.
Clorox wipes too. I could
Mhm.
not get my hands on them. I think I paid $200 once for like 2 containers of wipes
Oh my gosh.
because I
Oh,
still
that's
had,
funny.
I still had somebody coming into the office to do
Yeah.
some work. And, it was, boy, that was a wild time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I forgot
Mhm.
about that.
Mhm. I
It's
know.
funny you mentioned the word triggers, like
Yeah, absolutely.
forget about that. So
Mhm.
you got the people, the therapists, all that kind of stuff remote, figured out, everything's hunky dory. You got clients. I guess, did you end up losing any clients just out of either fear or they didn't know what to do or anything like that?
Very few. I mean, there were
Okay.
a couple people who said, I'll wait till we can be back in person.
All right.
And like, it was a couple years.
All right.
So uh, I don't know. I don't know if they ever came back, honestly.
Sure.
But no, I mean, we definitely saw an uptick in people seeking services.
All right. So tell me about that.
Mhm.
Because that is still one of those things that I can understand to a point, but I have a hard time wrapping my head around it.
Around the need for a therapist.
Around the uptick. Because it was
Oh, oh, yes, it
like
certainly
psycho
was.
uptick.
Yes.
I
Well,
guess maybe that's the wrong word to use as a
okay.
negative.
I was about to call you out, but you did it yourself. Good
Jeez,
job, James.
James, come on. Have a
A
little
little
heart here.
sensitivity. Yes. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it normalized anxiety, depression, mood disorders.
Hmm.
And we were all experiencing this unseen threat.
Hmm.
So our nervous systems were all on high alert.
Hmm.
We couldn't see what was happening. We did not feel cared for by our government. I
Not at all.
can speak
Right.
for other people.
Hmm.
It was chaos, right? So it really did feel kind of apocalyptic in
It
my
did.
mind. And so, okay, so now we're anxious about this. We're depressed. We're at home. What do we do to cope? Well, we start drinking, using drugs, coping with food, video games. So, like, we turn to our soothing things, which can also be addictive and damaging things.
Right. Make it worse.
And yep, makes it worse. And then our relationships suffer. We're stuck at home with our kids, our family. Maybe then things start to, things that we've been able to kind of just limp along and get by suddenly are in, the volume is turned way up
Hmm.
on some of the dysfunction that's happening in our lives. So I think that had a lot to do with the uptick. And then there was just a lot more talk about mental health.
Hmm.
And I think that, and again, maybe it's just because of who I follow on Instagram and that sort of stuff, that I see people talking about it a lot more, that normalized it. And
Mm.
there, more
Where
people were
before,
willing to
I
reach
guess,
out.
before was it kind of taboo, or what do you mean normalized?
Well, there's still a mental health stigma, unfortunately.
Okay.
I think it's much better than it was in like 2018, 2019, because
Hmm.
we have gone through this thing. We witnessed collective trauma. We saw what it looked like with, on TV. Luckily, it was just on TV. You saw bodies stacked up in refrigerated trucks because the morgues could not hold them because of the COVID pandemic. So we saw that on TV. That's vicarious trauma that we're
Hmm.
experiencing while we're still experiencing that threat before we had vaccines. And then you consider the folks on the front lines. So nurses, doctors, EMTs, police officers, restaurant workers, grocery store workers, who were constantly in that space of potentially getting sick. And then
Hmm.
those, in the hospitals and clinics who were actually, having to watch people die without their family around. And
Hmm.
folks in nursing homes and assisted living with their families locked out. They couldn't see them, for a year. I mean, the trauma is truly, immeasurable, what we went
Hmm.
through. And I think that it'll be so interesting to see studies in the next few years on what this did to us as a
Oh, the
society.
fallout.
Mhm,
Yeah. It's
mhm,
interesting you mentioned the hospital thing. My dad during that time had a stroke.
mm,
And so he's in the hospital and he can only have one visitor a day.
mm.
And my sister was essentially taking care of him. So she's in the hospital. So we drive up, we can't be in the hospital. So we go, he's on the first floor room. So we go and find his window, and we're talking on the phone with him on speakerphone. And the hospital has some little guard come out and be like, you can't be here.
Oh,
like,
no.
Well, you won't let us be inside.
Right.
So we're going to hang out, right? Call who you gotta.
Yep.
Feel
free to call.
Us. We're not
yes,
gonna be here
call the
long.
police on us for real.
But it's one of those like, really, dude, this is your big problem.
Oh,
so it was an interesting.
That had to be hard.
Yeah, it was just an interesting, like, this is dumb. This is so dumb. Because there wasn't an alternative that hospitals or clinics put in place to say, like, hey, you can't be in person with this person that's having a rough time in the hospital. Instead of that, you can do X. Hanging out outside the window clearly was not an option.
Which is so strange, because I know a lot of places did allow that. Maybe, I don't know, hospitals may have had different
Who knows,
protocols.
whatever. It was the mall cop that I had to deal with, so whatever. I'm sure he's got problems of his own, so
yes, I'm sure whatever. He does.
Yeah. It was just an interesting thing, because I can only imagine like that was a short-lived stint that my dad was in the hospital, but I can imagine it, you know, you got a wife giving birth or something like that, or other things that are what I would consider to be higher level, where it would normally be like, yeah, I got to be by their side. And someone to tell you that you can't, it's got to be very challenging to accept. Extremely challenging to accept.
Yes. And that's, you know, we saw a big uptick in need for services. And I've heard that story, you know, times 10, like with much higher stakes.
Yeah.
And
I imagine.
Yep. So then that's a trauma that, you know, people need to work through. I mean, if you just shove that down, it's going to find a way out at some point, you know, the pain of what we went through. And of course it was very individual, but also, you know, there was something too about, like, you know, well, we're all experiencing this. So again, that's another way that it's like, well, this is, you know, it's normal to feel pain, depression, anxiety, and it's also a good thing to talk about that with somebody.
Yeah, it's interesting, because even on the podcast, I remember, I don't know, let's call it July, maybe August 22, where I'm like, don't say pandemic, don't mention COVID, don't mention any of that. It's in the past, move on with your life. And it's very difficult to do that. Because it altered business along with people in such a way that you kind of couldn't not talk about it. But it's one of those like, I don't want to, like, don't say the word pivot. Just move, tap dance around that.
Right. That was the word of 2020, right? It should have been like, pivoting. Yeah. And we're still dealing with it. You know, that's a thing that we talk about all the time is, you know, we went through the whole vaccine thing too. Like, do we, you know, our employees are all expected to be vaccinated, but is that something now that we continue to, is that the line that we hold? What does fully vaccinated mean? Do we, you know, we do groups, we have yoga classes. Do we let people in there who are unvaccinated? Like, how do we're still talking about how to manage that
still. All right, because I imagine there's people on both sides, whether vaccine or no vaccine, or I don't 6 feet or whatever, I don't know, mask, not mask, all this. I don't know. Insert challenge here.
Exactly. And the guidelines haven't exactly been crystal clear, as you know.
Right.
So
I don't know if they ever were.
No. And that's where you and I as business owners then have to make, you know, difficult decisions about that. And ultimately it's about protecting the greater good for us, because we are a mental health clinic and we serve vulnerable populations. We are, for our groups and yoga classes, vaccines are required. So it's, you know, that's something that we went back and forth on, because, you know, we have to think about also not denying services to people too. So again, that's where telehealth can come in, you know. So is
that where you offer vaccinated yoga and non-vaccinated yoga? Or
well, now our yoga studio is, if you want to come to class, it is vax only. And we're still holding to that. But, you know, we do one-on-one with people, you know, if maybe group isn't accessible to somebody who is not vaccinated, we don't deny them services.
Okay.
We continue to serve just maybe via telehealth or individually.
Sure.
But then again, I've got a staff of 38 some people, and, sometimes they say, I don't want to be in a room with somebody who's not vaccinated or not masked. Then I have to have that, I have to have that conversation as an employer, because you want to make sure that people are feeling that their health is being protected.
Do you also, I guess, speaking of employees, right? I imagine just like clients, you have employees that are going to fit somewhere on that spectrum, whether they're like mask, no mask, vaccine, no vaccine, whatever, in person versus tele, I'm only remote or whatever. So I imagine you'd adapt to some of that, or
for sure.
I'll say adapt over cater.
Yeah. Well, good word choice. Yes. Good word choice. Yes, we do. And it is very individual. Of course, when the vaccines were offered, we scrambled to get them, of course, because we really wanted to make sure that we were protected for ourselves, of course, but also for our clients, and there's just so much unknown and misunderstanding and misinformation. I don't have to tell you about any of this,
right?
That it is one of those things where it's so hard to just have like here's a hard and fast policy, here's what we're doing, because there's so many shades of gray so often. So we do work with people individually. We give our staff a lot of attention, I feel, and make sure that they are feeling like it's a safe and good work environment.
Sure. I want to ask you, I guess, just speaking of work environments broadly, when people come to your, I guess, clients, and I don't know if you necessarily know this or not, since you have so many therapists, but maybe it's an industry thing. When people come and they're like, hey, I have some challenges that I'm dealing with recently over the past few years with the pandemic and stuff like that, how much or what percentage, I guess, from your perception would be considered directly pandemic versus work during the pandemic related? Because I see a lot of places, like even Disney's like, hey, come on back.
Yeah.
Right. Apple, come on back. Google, Facebook, Twitter, they're all like, hey, come on back. We have ping pong tables or Mickey, whatever it is they're after.
All right.
There's a reason that they're saying come on back, and I imagine it has to do with productivity, because they don't want to buy more toilet paper than they need to, I suppose. Right. or disinfecting wipes or whatever.
Yeah.
So they're not like, hey, we need to increase that top line. So I imagine some people are anxious about that. They've been living or hanging out at home doing their job or punching in, maybe not doing their job.
Not my staff, James. My staff is all highly professional.
Yeah, all of ours. 100%. 110 some days. Yeah.
Well, it is, we again, it goes back to serving our clients. So we want to make sure that everybody has some availability to see people in person. That means coming to one of our offices. Unless there is, a certain person who has really demonstrated that they work super well from remote, and that's how their clients want to be seen, and that's how they want to work, then we would make that exception. But across the board, we want to, everybody has some clients that want to be seen in person. So we want to have them in. And, again, it does feel good to be in person with your teammates too, with your colleagues. There's so much, and I've just been noticing this in the last few weeks. I've been in the office a bunch, and I like the people at Insight.
Oh, that's good, right?
I do. I know. I truly like them. I don't get as much work done because I'm just like chatting them up and, hey, can I ask you this question? Or can we talk about this person? So there's just that exchange of ideas and energy that you cannot replicate via Zoom.
Totally fair. 1,000 times over. Yeah. It's like there's an energy between people that does not necessarily flow through a camera.
Yes. And like you were saying, how do you read somebody's body language when you're doing psychotherapy with them? Just, and that's something that we really struggled with, was like, how do we do body-centered therapy? We do body therapies. Like we do, the eye movement therapy, EMDR, we do yoga therapy, we do sensory motor therapy, which is just really all about your nervous system and in your body.
Oh,
And it took us a while to figure that out. It was
all
not
right.
just like organic, oh, this works perfect via Zoom. No,
It's so fluid.
no. And it, we really have gotten good at it, but there's just no substitute for being in person with somebody.
All right. Speaking of which, and maybe twisting that knife a little bit, have you ever had to give therapy, or have your clients or your employees, sorry, had to give therapy to a black screen where the client just either refused or couldn't get their camera to work or something like that?
Yes.
All
Yep.
right.
We absolutely have done that. And it's a challenge. It's basically like a phone session. You're just kind of, it is so hard because you can't read expressions,
Right.
at least like this is, synchronous in real time. You can see the faces that I'm making when we're doing Zoom. You can see if I'm upset or if I've,
Please.
had a reaction. When
Yeah.
you're on the phone, it's like, I don't know. I can tell they're like, eating chips, and that's, that's about it. And it's hard. It's really hard to do that. It's definitely not the preferred way.
My wife's a teacher, and when she's teaching class over Zoom, she would show me, and there'd be 30 black boxes. And I'm like, come on. Come on. How is that okay? How is there not just a mandatory camera thing?
Yeah.
And the school district was just like, everyone's a delicate flower. We don't want to force them to do anything. And there were times that my wife would ask a question and like zero response. So you know that these people signed on, walked away.
Yep. Now they're all playing video games.
Yeah.
Making a snack, whatever.
So I feel like there's going to be this wave of people that are so dumb. It's just
that have not had the opportunity to get as much education as they should.
Yeah, they're just missing a few years, right? So you're just like, oh, you're a pandemic kid. Got it.
Again, it'll be really interesting to see. That was so, it's so hard to do telehealth with kiddos, if you ask me.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, I mean,
I bet. Because
I've been hung up on, like, I can't, like, at least if you're in my office, like, I got a few tricks I can kind of keep people engaged, but like when you're doing telehealth, it's a challenge.
So as far as percentages, ballpark, is more of it still telehealth, or is it kind of 50-50, or is it moving towards in-person?
It's still, the majority is telehealth. I'd say like 60-40 at this point.
Okay.
So we're getting there. And again, people have been kind of slow to come out and to be in person. And a lot of it is that, like you said, like the ease, like I can do therapy on my lunch break. I don't have to leave work and find parking and drive across town. I can do telehealth when I'm in my car waiting for my kid's soccer game to get out or whatever it is. So it really has, for working folks, for parents, it has made it much more accessible to be able to get therapy. But some people are wanting that in-person connection, and we are doing our best to meet those needs.
All right.
It's a challenge. I mean, it's been slow. It's been slow.
All right. Fair. And was it Medicare, Medicaid? Has the way they pay out telehealth, has that changed, or is that?
It hasn't. That's always been like this, kind of thing hanging over us, was like, what's going to happen? Suddenly all the insurance companies, they were just like, yes, we approve telehealth. Here's the modifier you have to use for billing. Like, okay, that took us a while to figure out, but we got it. And, the threat has always been, well, they'll probably pay less for telehealth because, the theory is there's no overhead, yada, 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 which is not true. Like, we still have to have an office for people who want to be seen in person. We still have to pay for, the telehealth platform,
right? Licenses.
And our headphones and our speakers and our webcam, all that stuff. So far there hasn't been a big like mandate or edict that the payment is different.
All right. There hasn't been that, hey, in 2 weeks, no more telehealth or whatever.
Oh gosh, that has been my fear, from the beginning. But, how do you put that genie back in the bottle? Like once it's been released,
That's
we
fair.
see that this works.
Yeah.
It's improved access, and honestly, the need is just even so much greater. Our screeners, our wait list it's been very intense. There's a lot of people calling for services, and a lot of people want telehealth. So
all right.
I don't think that there's any going back.
You've had to add therapists over the past couple of years. Is it tough to find?
It is. I was going to say I'm picky, but that feels like a judgment.
There's nothing wrong with being picky about a good employee. That's okay to have a high bar.
Yes, we do have a high bar. It's crucial that people really fit in with our team. And, our mission is service. We want to serve people. That's why, we are a private practice. We take all these, commercial insurances, but we also serve Medicaid consumers, folks in this county program who may have limited access. So, we really we try to pride ourselves on serving as many people as we can. And the staff, the team, we're all on the same page, and that has to be the right fit. So in the last 6 months, I have been looking and interviewing a lot of people. And if they're not, if they don't, light my soul on fire, then next.
All right. So I just interviewed someone that has a massage therapy clinic.
Yeah.
And when she hires someone, one of the things, like after they jump through some hoops and they pass those, she gets a massage from them. So in the case of this, do you end up having you or one of your crew go through a therapy session with a new potential therapist, or how do you know?
That sounds so cringy. No, we don't do that.
I'm asking. I don't even know how you could possibly answer, but
well, I have heard, I've heard other hiring processes where people like have to demonstrate a skill or something like that. For us, it's really, I can pretty much tell right away when I see somebody, when I meet somebody. There's so much of just the interpersonal presence that is crucial. So, we do a lot of our interviews via telehealth just because it is. I
was just going to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's convenient. We've done some in person in the last year, but just with schedules, sure. I can squeeze somebody in between a couple sessions. So do they show up on screen, and are they framed appropriately? Do they look open, welcoming? Are they able to, make eye contact, have a lot of expressions to their face? Are they curious? Do they ask good questions? And then of course, we always ask about cultural humility, ethics, organizational skills, documentation, because a lot of our job is just like, busy work, paperwork. That's crucial, very crucial to stay compliant with our licensure and all of our certifications. But, we need people who can write notes on deadline and communicate really well. And you can tell that I feel like you can really tell that in their email communication and in their presence in their interviews. Right.
You mentioned cultural humility, and I wasn't sure if there's a comma between those two.
Nope.
No. Can you tell me about that?
Cultural humility, for sure. And that's a lifelong process for us as human services providers. So this is our ability to, recognize that we're going to be serving people who are not like us.
Okay.
So can we recognize our own implicit biases? I am a white cisgendered female with privilege. I have had access to education, and I need to be able to acknowledge that and be aware of it as I'm serving people who don't look like me.
Okay. All right. Is that, I imagine, we talk about differences between people. That's a never ending list.
Absolutely. Okay. We're constantly growing. We serve a lot of LGBTQ community, and there's that acronym changes, and
oh my gosh, so much.
Right.
So much.
So
I just had a conversation with someone that oh my gosh, how did it go? I should remember this, so I apologize, but it was something like somebody came out of the closet, whatever, and they said they were X, whatever it was. I don't know the nomenclature. And a circle of their friends got mad at them because they used the wrong nomenclature. And it was just one of those like, oh my gosh, I think people are just getting mad to get mad with
Well,
no
and
real.
it's always evolving, and that's where we have to, I don't expect myself to always know, but I have to be curious to find out.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So that's what cultural humility is.
All right.
Is
Tell me about the
recognizing,
humility portion though. I guess that's the.
well, culturally humble. So just being very humble in the experience.
Got it. Okay.
So that so that like I'm not perpetuating white supremacy and patriarchy.
Okay.
Didn't think you'd get into that today, did you?
No. No. It's so funny that you say that. I mean, maybe we'll go down a road that's not ideal for me. I'm just a white man. But it's one of those, my wife and I have this conversation probably more than we should. But to me, I'm like, why does it matter? Like, is it relevant for the specific thing that we're talking about? So, and it's interesting because we, back when interest rates got dirt low, we refinanced our house. And there's a question on there about race on a little form you fill out for the bank. And I'm like, okay, from my perspective, there's no reason for that question even be on that form. No reason. Because you could argue like, hey, we want to look at stats and just make sure that everyone's getting a fair shake. But if I was, I don't know, insert minority here, I would feel like, why are you asking that question? And as a white guy, I was like, why are you asking that question? I want to be like unknown or something like that.
Yeah,
It's just a weird, like, that's not relevant at all to refinancing a house, or shouldn't be relevant.
And also, I mean, you are speaking from a place of privilege because you're a homeowner, you have resources to refinance a house. So
Sure.
that's where the humility comes in, is to really kind of just checking that, especially when you're, as a business owner, considering that, yes, with the services I provide as a therapist, but also with staff and with the team.
All right.
I want to make sure I'm not surrounding myself with just a bunch of people who look just like me.
Got
so
it. Okay.
So, and yes, the race thing, the question is frustrating in those situations, but I do think societally we're still there, because we, when we do background checks, I'm sure you do that, you have to check a box, right? That's like, yes, we're gathering data. What are we doing with that data? Great question. Not sure.
Sure. It's what you can do with it versus what you want to do with it, I guess, as far as that goes. Like, I want to ask my employees when I'm hiring them, right, if they'll show up to work, or if they have anything that would prevent them to show up to work. But there's a lot of ways to ask that question that you can't ask.
Of course.
Which is challenge. I want to just be like, are you a mess? Or you feel like
that's not a great question to ask.
No. When I feel like I probably could have made some better hires in the past.
That's really what
it's asked that question.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Oh, I'm a train wreck.
Yeah, it is. That's something that could be a whole other podcast too.
Yeah, right.
Making good hires.
Oh my gosh,
it's crucial.
Yeah, and remotely. I mean, especially I imagine when you mentioned interviewing remotely, which is, I mean, I totally understand, but I imagine that's a challenge. Just, I suppose, like we're talking with a therapist client, when it's employer versus potential employee versus wrong word. I don't know what to say there, but you're not seeing the whole body language. You're seeing a very small window into their world, and trying to make a judgment on, like, is this a good hire or not? Right.
So, and then you rely on reference checks and resume and all that stuff. And it is, luckily Madison is a pretty small town, and people tend to come to Insight because they know somebody else who works there and likes it.
Oh, so nice.
Yeah.
Oh, so you get referrals for employees?
We do.
Oh, that's awesome. That's incredible.
It is. Yeah, it is pretty great. And that's how I like it.
All right.
You've done the whole Indeed thing, right? Where you put it out there and
oh my gosh,
you roll the dice, right? And we've gotten a couple good hires on Indeed. I will say I've gotten I'm been very blessed,
overall, I'd say I've done well. I wouldn't call it the cheapest thing in the world, but it
takes a lot of time.
A little bit.
I bet.
We have, Indeed has their tests, which is one of the reasons that I like Indeed.
Yeah.
So we have a customer service test, as an example of one of the very low barriers to entry to get an interview. And we have, I would say easily 75% of the people that apply and take that test fail that test.
Really?
Not that they got a B. I mean, like they got a D, a D or lower. And the customer service questions are something like I took it just to make sure, like, hey, what I'm asking people to do, can I do?
Yeah.
And the questions are like, you work at a retail store, you're at the front counter, somebody walks in the store. What do you do? Right? A, B, C, or D, right? Do you run to the back room and hide? Do you keep looking at your phone? Do you ask how their day is going, or do you ask if you can help them? How's your day going? Help them and get out from behind your desk. Wow. It's one of those, like, it's pretty obvious what the answer that they want, right?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a real tricky test.
People are failing it.
Wow, like, I kind of want to take it now.
Brutally. Well, I'll post an ad for you. You can
yeah, right, exactly. I'll apply.
Yeah, it's interesting because then from my point of view, I'm like, oh my God, I feel like the number of people, because we get a lot of applicants, the number of people applying, is that a good test of society as a whole, or is that this chunk of society that's looking for a job right now? And I mean, there's millions of jobs out there and maybe like 10 people looking for work. Right. So it's interesting because I'm like, I know why you're looking for a job, because you are so bad at customer service.
You've lost a few jobs. Yeah.
Yeah. People are like, no way. We'll live without another employee over hiring you and risking whatever fallout you'll have. Well,
and that's what you learn, right? It really boils down to making good hires to prevent headaches in the future.
Yeah. So let's talk about growth. We don't have a ton of time left, but let's talk about growth the next, I don't want to go too far in the future. Let's say 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Do you expect to double again?
Oh, no. No, not at all. Cannot manage that. I think, probably I'd like to say we'll cap at like 45 people eventually. Right. We're not quite there. Sure. Because the need is so great. We've just seen an uptick in people calling, and we have a lot of people on our wait list, and we are working diligently to get them services because, I want my community to get the help they need. I want my community to be healthy and, right. Balanced. So, I think we'll grow a little bit, but we have, we have a new building on the east side that's just been a wonderful, wonderful new home for us. And that it feels really good. I really like it. Everything's new and shiny and happy and great. I loved our old offices. They had tons of character, but the roof would leak, and that's whole
the one
fire,
that burned.
The whole fire thing. Yeah. It was a kind of a tinderbox. They're wonderful old buildings with tons of character, and I actually do miss that a lot. And I miss the folks that were in those buildings. But we've onward and upward. We've got a nice new space, and we have a new clinic in Verona, in a very old house, actually, that we've been renovating to turn into a clinic. So nice. So we want to get that really, bolstered and we've actually just made a couple hires for there. Very cool. Being able to serve that community is really exciting and to reach people on the west side. But again, we see people all over, really all over the state now with telehealth. All right. So we'd have to keep, obviously we're all licensed in Wisconsin, so we have to continue to just see people.
I was just going to ask what the limitation there is, because I was certain that there's limitation.
There sure are. Our client has to be in the state of Wisconsin. Got it. Okay. If we're only licensed in this state, which most of us are, just licensed here. All right. Well, cool. Yeah. It's exciting. We've got a little yoga studio we're hoping to grow too, and that's just a complement to the therapies. We're doing aerial yoga, which is a very unique thing.
Aerial, like air strings?
It's like a hammock. So it's like, if you're in a hammock, at your lake house, James, I'm sure you've got one of those, right?
Two.
If you're in a hammock, it's it's hooked to the ceiling, and we do yoga with that as a prop, as a tool to support. It's not circus arts. It's very much yoga based. And we have that at our East Side clinic, and we're building it and really excited about it, and just kind of having a lot of fun with
Nice. When does that open?
It has been open. We opened in the fall, and
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah, we've got classes. We have classes every weekday that
The
anybody
aerial
can come.
yoga stuff?
We have aerial twice a week, and then we just have other mat classes. I teach just regular mat classes, restorative, gentle flow, that sort of stuff. That it's open to anybody. You don't have to be a client of Insight. You can
All
come
right.
and take yoga classes. So that's part of that integrated, clinic philosophy that we have. That it's not just about, sometimes you can't just talk about your feelings. Sometimes you have to actually be in your body. Got to be in your body, have a relationship with it,
Right.
and we offer that as that complement.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So before we close here, is there
Mhm.
anything, I guess, if you were to just tell the world something to help them out in this facet, I guess, is there any advice, quote, super awesome, magical Jeanneisms that you
Yeah.
would send to the world?
Well, it's pretty cheesy, but it's really all about getting to know yourself and
All right.
being comfortable with yourself. And, I'm not saying be yourself, but doing the work of introspection. I think if you can spend some time, whether it's, exercising, doing yoga, being with family, playing your instrument, whatever, outlet you feel, where you feel like a sense of wholeness, do more of that. Do more of that, get off the Facebooks and and really engage in your life. And I know that sounds really like kind of cheesy and simplistic, but that's
usually the best advice though, right?
I feel like people are missing that. People are anxious. They're reading the news constantly. They're comparing themselves to others on social media.
Right.
And, we're losing that connection with self. And the more that you can do that for some people, maybe it's not journaling or meditating. For some of us, that really works well.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, maybe it's playing your guitar in your basement, whatever it is.
Sure.
Just do more of that.
I like it. Love it. Cool. Well, thanks Jeanne. I appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah. Thanks, James. It's been great.
This is cool. Can you tell us where people can find you, both
Sure.
your office location, as well as website, or just a way to get a hold of you?
Sure, absolutely. So we're at insightmadison.com, and we have our maps to our offices there, and screening forms and all that good stuff. We're located on the east side at 1943 Winnebago. It's a brand new building. It's lovely. And then our Verona branch office is at 324 South Main Street, kind of right next to Miller's and the bike path there in Verona.
Oh, sure.
If you're familiar with it. Big old Victorian house that's now our little therapy home.
Nice. So in Winnebago, that's a brand new building?
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right across from
surrounded by some older stuff there.
Yes. Yeah. We basically just moved around the corner. Like I carried lamps and furniture and boxes of books around the corner. People would just stop and stare like, what is that person doing? But, we moved around the corner, and it's been
like
wonderful.
Steve Martin from The Jerk, right?
Right. All I need is this chair.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Jeanne.
Yeah. Thanks, James.
This has been Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes. Struggle stories, triumphant successes. Sure. Business owners across the land. We're locally underwritten by the Bank of Sun Prairie. I still just imagining you just walking down the sidewalk with a chair and a lamp. Just like, screw you guys, I'm going home. If you're listening to this on the web, if you could do us a huge favor, give it the big old thumbs up, subscribe, and of course, comment and let us know, how has that pandemic treated you? Good or bad? Whatever. It's all good. My name is James Kateman, and Authentic Business Adventures is brought to you by Calls on Call, offering call answering and receptionist services for service businesses across the country, on the web at callsoncall.com. And of course, the Bold Business Book, a book for the entrepreneur and all of us, available wherever fine books are sold. We'd like to thank you, our wonderful listeners, as well as our guest, Jeanne Kolker, the owner of Insight Counseling and Wellness. Jeanne, can you tell us your website one more time?
Yep, it's insightmadison.com.
Excellent. Insightmadison.com. That couldn't be any easier.
Nope. INSIGHT.
Perfect. Past episodes can be found morning, noon, and night. The podcast link found at drawincustomers.com. Thank you for listening. We will see you next week. I want you to stay awesome. And if you do nothing else, enjoy your business.